back to the Sideline Eye podcast. You're here for a review show, and we're looking back at the four Junior Championship quarterfinals played over this weekend. We now know the semi-final draw. It's Clonmore and Ballyhagan in one game, and Clonard seconds against Crunchgo in the other. From the four quarterfinals, I spoke to four different players of the winning teams. I spoke to Clonard's Conor Bale after they saw off Clevey seconds by 1 point at Silver Bridge. Kieran Lynch then spoke to the Crunchgo captain Kieran McAteer after they came back from 2 down at half time to see off Newtown. On Sunday here, I spoke to James McCormack, who top scored for Ballyhagan as they saw off someone after extra time to make it through to the last four. And also spoke to Brendan Donaghy, Clonmore manager, after they beat Portmore in the quarter-final. So you hear from Conor Bale first, and then you hear the rest of the players and managers interviewed from the four games. Big shout out to Kieran Lynch for helping us with our interviews, and thanks to Caps Athletic for coming on board as the official podcast sponsor for the year. So Conor, Clonard and seconds are through to the semi-final of the Junior Championship, but it certainly wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't. We knew after the last league match we played Clevey, we sort of beat them well down our pitch, but when you come to the Championship, Clevey will be ready to go, maybe have a few boys dropping down, and we knew it was going to be a tough Championship's not like a league match obviously, so down to the wire, exciting stuff. Would have been good for the spectator, but certainly not good for the blood pressure for us boys. But listen, we got a point win. We're in the next round, we're in the semi-final, so happy enough.
On the win like that, Conor, you've trailed for most of the game, but you've come good. I think you were 10-6 down at the stage, come back to draw 10 each, then they went ahead by a point, you had to level up and then get the winner, so it was really, the last 10 or 15 minutes was really exciting there.
Yes, exactly, and we always probably thought that we knew that all them young fellas there had a bit in the tank to go the last 15-20. You've got that sort of trust in the fitness because they've been training a lot with the senior boys and pushing them and pushing themselves, so you're always going to be in a game. So if you're always the fitness to be in a game the last 15-20 minutes, then you have that trust in yourself and you don't panic then. We'll probably kick ourselves out of a lot there, kick a load of wides. But anyway, so we got done enough to get through to the semi-final, so journey continues.
And I suppose if there's stuff to work on, it's obviously the shot selection and the wide count there would probably concern you, because while you trailed for a lot of it, you were on top for most part of that second half. You just couldn't seem to find the scores at the other end.
Yeah, it just seemed to be one of those days with Brian Mall and Stevie. I think over the last couple of weeks, Steve McGreevy, they've been training us, and most of the things we've been doing has been shooting. So it's just one of those days where guys like James French and Rogie and Ethan, who are get into a lot of first senior teams, and they probably will in the next couple of years in ours. Just one of those days. It wasn't coming off as much, but they've done it when it counted. So that's what matters.
I think that half forward line, I was on commentary with Tommy Coleman, and we were talking about that half forward line most of the day, and particularly Rogan McVeigh. I'm not sure if he got on the score sheet at all. He maybe got a point in the first half, but his work rate, his passing, he was up and down all day. His super performance.
Yeah, he's a cracking footballer. Loads of fitness. You think maybe he didn't get on the score sheet, but he's playing winning half forward there. The pressure he takes off a team as an outlet, taking the ball, taking the pressure off the team, travelling up the pitch, letting everybody get back into position, that everybody gets set, putting nice balls in himself and Ethan. So yeah, Rogan's a cracking player and definitely one for the future.
And those younger boys, Conor, you're obviously a more experienced head in the team. Those younger boys coming through, that blend of youth and experience, that's just, I suppose, junior teams. That's what junior teams are made of, aren't they?
Yeah, well that's it. Clonard, set this up this year, and Stevie and Brian said you come back just to be about the boys, and help things settle, give them that wee bit of experience, but sort of need a bit of that. Sean Corey, Tony Malloy, and boys like that are able to do that. But no, I think the experience that they're getting from playing competitive matches week in, week out, rather than sitting on the bench and getting 5-10 minutes, it's definitely better for their development. So that blend is good. Like, probably when it came back, I didn't probably think it would go this far in terms of a promotion and semi-final of a championship. But sure, why not? Why stop now?
And I suppose, Conor, how have you found it yourself? Because I know you played the last few league games and obviously the championship now. How have you found in terms of standard and the drop down from senior? Has it been as the standard what you expected, or how have you found it?
I've actually, I don't know why, maybe it's just the nature of football, or the nature of the divisions, but obviously some of the young fellas, they've went a certain way of fitness and I've went the other way because they stopped, kids and coaching and things like that there, and work, and just life takes over. But the thing you find is when you're playing senior football, a lot of senior championship matches, there's a lot of men behind the ball. You're playing around the middle, there's a lot of side to side stuff. Whereas when you're playing junior in the league, now it's a wee bit different championship. It's completely end to end stuff. There's nobody behind you, so it's you have to be get up and down. So the standards you've been seeing some of them guys there, both teams, standards, some of the forward play. It's definitely not what you would call sort of junior football in a lot of people's eyes, and definitely not reserve football. Like it's a good quality, and I think the fact that there's a league there and a championship to allow that to happen, lifts the quality of people have something to play for, rather than just turning up every Wednesday night for a kickabout sort of thing.
I've been through the semi-final now, Conor. Anything can happen. Obviously, these are the first team through, so we don't know. We'll know when the podcast is released who is playing, but we don't know at the minute. But anything can happen now. Is it through to the last four?
Yeah, well, that's it. The last four teams are going to be in there. Is all in with a shout. Your Ballygagans and stuff, and teams like that, and Clonmore, who'd be the favourites to win it. Obviously, we're just coming there, and every match now is just building to see where we go. Any team we play, like, we'll be the underdogs because we're first year out, and it is way we played today. There's certainly a lot to work on, so we're certainly concentrating ourselves after a performance like that, which wasn't great.
Come on, Conor. Cheers.
Thanks, Sean. What?
So listen, you're into the next round, you're in the semi-finals. How good does that feel, having won that game there today?
It's brilliant. The effort that we put in since January, it's expected of us to get this far, and won't be fair to any team in the semi-finals, whatever draw we get.
Yeah, and it was an entertaining game. We touched on it, we were doing the Armagh TV commentary, that it was quite an open game. Two teams playing on the front for a lot of individual man-on-man battles. And was it a fun game to play in, I suppose? Was it an enjoyable game to play in?
It was a great game to play in, and the crowd here added to it. The atmosphere sort of drawed you on, and I think everyone enjoyed it. I don't think anybody even watching it would have said it was a bad game. So yeah, I think everyone would have enjoyed seeing it from a neutral perspective as well.
Absolutely, and the crowd, as you touched on, there's a brilliant crowd here today in Silverbridge, and that second half, the third quarter probably especially, you had your tails up, and could you feel that from the crowd?
Yeah, the crowd just pushed us on that wee extra bit. It's great to have our own fans with us. It's a massive help to all the boys to hear your friends and family cheering you on and getting you through those last 10-15 minutes when you're digging deep in those last 10-15 minutes, and it really helps.
Was there anything said at half time? Obviously you're trailing by a point, you come out the better of the two teams, I think it's fair to say, in that second half. Was there any tactical tweaks? Was anything changed, or what do you sort of put it down to?
No, we know what we're doing before. Doesn't matter what team we're going up against, we know what we're doing. Whatever the scoreline is, we stick to our game plan. We're confident in it. And
of course, you're there in the full back line. Newtown have a couple of potent forwards, and I suppose you've just touched on that you're confident in your own game. But at the same time, what was said about sort of keeping those players in check, I feel like?
Our full back line, our defence actually starts in our full forward line, and we're all happy. We know what we're doing, and we're confident that everyone will win their one-on-ones. So, yeah.
And then I suppose at the end of the game, you're leading there. It was 4 or 5 points. They got it back down to 3. Was there any nerves? You touched on the full back line. Did Savage time seem to go on forever, or how did you feel?
No, I thought it was all right. As I say, we practice all that stuff, and we're sort of used to it. And as I've said it a couple of times in this, our confidence, we know what players we've got and what we're able to achieve. So, yeah. And
as well, you never really gave them a clear sighted goal. Was that, how important was it to do that? That you never even really give them a sniff, if you like.
Well, as I said, our defence starts in the 15. It's hard to break us down through the middle. It's hard to break us down the sides. So if you're getting through on goal, yeah, I think it's well deserved, because we work our socks off to stop those chances.
Yeah, and there was a number of standout players today, but you've Ryan Courtney back from Canada, and how pivotal was he there in that second half, and how good is it to have him there in the lineup?
Look, he's a great addition, but anybody on our team is well capable of starting or coming off the bench and doing their role. And so, yeah, as I said, it's a good addition, but we're happy enough if he's not about, not if he's not about, but we've got players to fill those voids. So yeah. And
you sort of touched on at the start that you're not surprised if you like that you're in the semi-finals. You expected to be at this stage.
Yep.
Of course, as it stands, we're on the Saturday. We don't know yet who you'll be playing, but you've total confidence that you can go on and do something here in this championship.
Yeah, total confidence. Like everyone we're confident in what we've set out from in the first week in January, what we want to do and what we want to achieve. we fear no team, like, so we've nothing to lose.
Struggle there, but he's got there in the end.
It was a hard out fought match. Like, I suppose we were 1-1 games from the league. Like, they beat us up there at the, and we beat them at home. But it took us the extra time to get over the line. Like, but it was a quite hard game. Like, but it was good to get over the line.
You knew coming into this, James, obviously that someone were in the junior final last year. You knew this was going to be a tight game and a big test for you.
100%. But I suppose in the first group game of the championship, like, we maybe thought we were too complacent, like, and went in just think we were going to win. But we got shown our hand that day and got beat off the park for a while. Like, the day was the same. Like, they got a goal at the end, but they played a final whistle. Like, and it just goes to show, like, they're a damn good team. Like, it was just good to get over the line there.
That first game, James, that you talk about against Korenchko, was that down to complacency? Was it just a bad day at the office?
A wee bit of complacency, like, and it was a bad day at the office, but it was a difficult old day. Like, we went in maybe just thinking we were going to win. If you're a team in the hard bit of the league, we were 3A, 3B, like, but here they played us off the park, they hit us hard, and I suppose I won there yesterday, like, and I watched it. They were a damn good team again yesterday, but you don't want to be complacent in the championship, like, but no, they were good. They were full value that day. They beat us.
And you've bounced back brilliant. I think that's 4 wins on the trot now since that game.
No, we were doing well in the league. Like, we hadn't won a lost league game since I think it was May, and then that was the day Korenchko beat us. Like, that was the first late loss in a long while. Like, we're a good out team there, but Jack's out injured. He's a big miss. Like, he's had no luck this year with injuries. So we're just playing for everyone. There's a few lads injured around roughly. Like, we're just playing for everyone on the team now. Just push on, like, and hopefully just keep pushing on through each round. They take it one step at a time. I
think Jack Rabbit, he was your captain too, and obviously a big loss. He had his wrist injury, and then now he has a knee injury. Like, he's such a massive loss for you.
He's a leader. He's a leader on the team. Like, he's a massive loss, but he's on the sideline. He's been up at every training, like, and he's in a brace. He's straight out of hospital, straight up, just sporting the boys on, sending messages in the group chat. Like, he's a massive loss, but he'll always be here driving us on. Like, and he's some asset to the team. Like, and hopefully he'll be back playing football. It might not be for a while, but you'd hope to do it for him and the boys and the managers. Like.
And you just thought, James, that last minute goal that someone got, is there 3 points up, is there more or less through to the next round, and it's just such a sucker punch. What's good through your head at that stage? It's
panic station 2 set in, but you don't want to show it in front of the whole team. Like, I suppose it was a bit of luck, and that's what you do. If you're 3 points down, you go for the goal, you go for the juggler, like, and it works out. Being there himself, and you get the goal. But that's something we have to work on training now, because you're 3 points up. You want to see the game out. Even you don't want the ball coming in, like, went in and just landed the right man, got a goal, like, and then it's holding the legs, cramping up there now. You're playing the extra time, like, but that's football for you. Like.
Obviously, the extra time, the weather doesn't help here. No. Like, we're inside talking here because I usually do my interviews out in the pitch, but it's bucket and rain, so like it was difficult conditions. Then extra time on top of that, like, you'll take a lot of recovery.
Definitely will. It's heavy on the legs. Suppose we've been lucky enough throughout the whole league and championship that it has been dry enough, like, but you can certainly feel it. Certainly feeling the legs. It was heavier. The pitch, even trying to get past ways, it's just hold you up. The ball's heavier, like. But it's good tester for the legs, like, and you just bring it into training now and try to push the team on, like.
And that's yourselves, Korenchko and Clonard through at the minute. We don't know the fourth team. We're speaking before the Clonard and Portmore game here, but it's a wide open championship. James, you'll fancy yourselves, Korenchko the same, Clonard the same. Everybody sort of has their eyes on the prize here.
100%. It's an open championship right from the draw. Like, anyone can go for it. It's very close. There's no one heads above each other. Like. And it just goes to show every game's been tight enough, but you just take game by game, like, and you want to push on. Teams will be beating teams and maybe think that they're better than them and play a team in the league and you beat them, and then you're going in the championship. Championship football is completely different, like, so you just take it into the end, and it's whoever performs in the day and whoever wants it more. Like.
Good stuff, James. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Brendan, you're through to the last 4 of the junior championship. That's where you want to be at this time of year.
Oh yeah, well, probably this time of year where we're setting out our stall. Obviously, league first, we wanted to get it sort of wrapped up or done and dusted as soon as it could be. Obviously, it's starting to close. I suppose for most people, like myself included, the championship is the be all and end all ahead of all these things, you know. It's where we want to be. We're not coming up here against Portmore. had a massive win last week. College Island, who will see themselves as one of the favourites, if not the favourites for the championship. So we do Portmore had something about them. It's always the same with the team that no matter if they're 5 points down or 6 points down, they didn't stop. And that's what they did last week. So we were very worried of them. For us, it was almost that sort of a case of trying to keep guys feet on the ground going, this is not an easy draw. And you can see there, whenever it sort of got sort of up on top, as one side as it was potentially in the first half, all Portmore would have needed to go, the next thing they started to step up. The further they got to go, and started to look dangerous, and they didn't stop. Full credit to them. We were fortunate enough there too, got a couple of black cards, and probably at that stage we added on a few scores, which in my eyes probably sort of put a bit of a gloss on the actual scoreline. To me, it wasn't probably as far ahead as what that scoreline would represent, but that's the way it is.
And that win for Portmore last week against College Land, that probably sent out a warning nearly to you, that there was you couldn't be complacent or anything here because you would be caught, so he's had to fully focus on this game.
Yeah, but that was it, all week in training, that's what sort of talked about was, do you not take these guys for granted, There's always that sort of mentality some teams would have that, they're a division below us, so like the 3As against versus 3B and bits and pieces, and there's not actually that much in the leagues, and probably if you look at it now, the semi-final stage, you have 2 from 3A and 2 from 3B, so it's fair to say that their league's probably as competitive at times as ours is. Whenever you're looking at the likes of Portugal and Flanders Sevens coming up, and even Ballyhagan, again the third game tonight, that they're having to work hard for it. I didn't get to see much of it, but whenever you get forced extra time, it shows there's just not that much between the teams behind it all,
And I suppose, Brenda, you mentioned winning the league. How much of a confidence boost and momentum and everything that comes with winning the league and getting a bit of silverware, how important was that coming into the championship, or do you wipe the slate clean and it's a different competition?
It's a completely different competition, Sort of as the league goes on, it sort of becomes that bit of a war of attrition. Whenever we sort of got to that end and we had it done and dusted, right, that's us. Let's take a wee week off here, 2 here. The league's done. Forget about it. And then that's where the pre-season almost for championship starts. And fair credit to the boys, they work their socks off there the night to try and do that. And a lot of things they sort of had done in that sort of second mini pre-season. The boys have been doing it. There's nothing we could ask for from them to put in effort away. So they're probably reaping the rewards for that now. So that's not to say the next game is going to be the same thing.
And I suppose putting up, I think it was 3-14 you had in the end. On the night it was a difficult night here and wet, slippy ball and everything. You're happy enough with that scoreline?
Yeah, again, 3-14, probably missed a few opportunities as well. Probably weren't ruthless enough at times whenever we had gaps. We just were maybe pondered a bit too much on the opportunity, maybe a bit lost. But yeah, I would say when you need to score 3-14, you win most games. So can't really fault the lads for that.
And Brendan, how are you enjoying being on the line now? I know you're probably around out in the thick of it here, but you're managing at the minute, you're on the line. How are you enjoying it, or how stressful is it?
Yeah, it's probably a bit more stressful because from the point of view where you can't have that direct impact on on the game itself, but I'll be rather playing any day, put it like that. But look, it's one of these sort of things, and it probably shows that 37 years of age, you sort of have to go, well, there's only so many playing days left. And not that management would be a big call for myself, but you sort of stepped into those shoes as a player manager at the start of the year, and unfortunately I have to keep on seeing it out.
Good stuff, Brendan, thank you.
No problem.